Have you ever thought that you have a Qualcomm phone and your friend has a MediaTek phone? Does it mean that your phone is slower than your friend's phone? In this video, we are going to understand different processors and factors which affect the speed of processor. Hello everyone, I am Om and I am going to make sure that in this video you understand different processors and factors which affect the speed of processor. So without wasting any time, let's get started and let's see what are the factors which affect the speed of processor. If we talk about the companies which make the mobile processors, then there are four major companies in the market. The first one is Qualcomm, then MediaTek, then Samsung Exynos and NVIDIA. So whenever we buy a mobile phone, then there are three major things which come to our mind. The first one is whether the mobile phone heats up fast. The second one is the battery backup good, and the third one whether the function of the mobile is smooth or not. These three factors are directly or indirectly related to the processor of this phone. So in this video, I am going to tell you four factors which you should consider while comparing any two processors of any two mobile phones. So let's get started and see what these four factors are. So the first factor which we are going to consider is architecture. As I told you earlier that there is a company named ARM which make the design architecture for the processor companies so that the processor companies could make the processor. Every year ARM tries to upgrade its design so that the processor making companies can upgrade their processor and provide a better speed. So if I talk about the first one, then there was Cortex A5. Then came the version Cortex A7, A9, A11, A13, A15, A53, A57 and A59. So as you heard all these names, they are much complicated. So I won't go in much deeper of this architecture process. So if I talk about the main thing in the architecture, so the first thing you should consider is that higher the number, better the architecture and better the processor. For example, Cortex A57 will be better than Cortex A53. Similarly, Cortex A59 will be better than Cortex A57. This is the one thing which you should consider while seeing the architecture of the processor. The second point which we are going to consider is technology. So in a processor, there are lakhs and crores of transistors. Smaller the size of the transistor, greater will be the processing speed. In the current market scenario, Samsung ranks number one in manufacturing smallest transistors. The Samsung transistors range is 14 nanometers. Then come the Qualcomm which has a smallest size of 20 nanometers and MediaTek transistors range from 26 to 28 nanometer. So the concept is simple. Smallest the transistor size, greater will be the processing speed and better will be the processor. The third point which we are going to consider is number of cores. Yes, you heard it right. Consider that I am the processor and I have two hands which are my two cores. Then I can perform two tasks simultaneously or two tasks at a time. Similarly, if a processor is quad core, it means that it has four hands and it can perform four tasks at a time. Similarly, if a processor is octa core, then it means that it has 8 cores, which means 8 hands, and it can do 8 tasks at a time. So here you can see that as octa core has 8 cores, which means octa core will be much better than quad core and it will be much faster than quad core. So in the number of cores segment, the only factor which you will consider is higher the number of cores, better will be the processor and higher will be the processing speed. The last and the fourth factor which we are going to consider in the segment is frequency, which is gigahertz. We have often heard the word gigahertz by saying that the phone is 1 gigahertz, 1.5 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz. So what does this gigahertz means? So along with the processor, it has a clock with the help of which the processor carries its work. So In 1 second, if the processor is 1 gigahertz, it means that in 1 second it will perform 10 crore times the work. In 1 second, it will perform the work 10 crore times. So the only thing which you have to consider in the frequency segment, that is in the gigahertz segment, that higher the frequency, better will be the speed, and higher the frequency, the processor will be able to do more tasks accordingly. So if I summarize the video, then while comparing the processors, you have to consider 4 factors basically. The first one is architecture, the second one is technology, the third one is number of cores, and the fourth one is frequency, that is gigahertz. So that was it for this video. If you found this video helpful, if you have got some knowledge of what processors are and how you should compare them, then do hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel for more such content, and if you have any questions, then you can surely comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.